Thank you. Hi everyone, I'm James Wahba from Projective Space. But I just want to thank everyone for coming out. I just want to say it's a very good-looking crowd. So it's good. I just want to kind of build on what Jason was talking about, community, and for us it's something that's very important as well. Without community, without curation, and making sure that you have the right fit when you meet someone to join a co-working space, you're never going to have the collaboration or the connections or the good vibes that you want to see. So you can bring in, a large team of 10 or 15, but they might not add value. They actually take away value from the rest of the membership. For us, the aha moment that I had, just to actually rewind and take it back about 3 years ago, I was working in our Soho location, renting a desk from a guy who had the lease, and there were I could tell that there were some interesting people in the room, but there was nothing ever done to really connect any of the members. So I was sitting there for a year, and I met maybe 6 or 7 people. And I was working there with my brother, and we were trying to be social. But people were they were paying to work there. They were paying to get a cheap desk to crank away all night, all day. And it was, in a way it was inspiring just to see their work ethic and how hard they were hustling. But still, we were all kind of working and running our own race alone. But then by accident, basically, I set off a happy hour. And I called it, hey, we're going to have a happy hour at 5 o'clock on Friday. And everyone showed up. And it was just pent-up energy and pent-up interest for people to connect with each other. So our aha moment was, hey, happy hours work. They connect me. Beer works. And then the funny thing is, the guy who had the lease basically turned to me and said, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to run the place. I want to focus on my own business. And I said, hey, I'll take over the space. I'd love to. I felt like there could be a community here if you put some TLC into it and you really started looking at the community and what you wanted the community to be. So right then, basically, he signed a manager's agreement with me to take over the lease. And in 2 weeks, I had the lease. I was responsible for collecting all the membership dues. I turned it into membership dues instead of rent, because I feel like rent is a kind of shitty real estate term that doesn't really work for what we're doing. So we created a membership community, and we launched Projective Space. We had some good companies in the space at that time. We had a company called Goji, another company called Wanderfly, another company called SeatGeek, Trilex, and several others that came through. So they were already there. There already was a base of startups that were there. And we really wanted to build on that kind of base. So they started to see the value of this space. And they started inviting other people to come join us. So it really started happening organically. And so that's just kind of like how things started rolling. And then 6 months later, I signed a lease for another location on the Lower East Side. And now we have 180 members. Companies that started off in that original space were a team of 2. They moved on to our Lower East Side space, and they left as a team of 20. We have another company that was here. Where's Scott? Scott started off in our space as a team of 5. He's one of the founders of Spray Boots, and he just left our space, which is a bittersweet thing, but I still like to see it. And now he has his own space. And he's building his own community, his own culture. So hopefully we kind of set the bar with the happy hours that we had. So I guess our aha moment was happy hours work. It's the way to create community. It's the way to build basically what you want to build.
Great. So you did stumble upon what is actually the fundamental truth that all businesses are built on happy hours and alcohol. So thanks for that. Let's any questions in the audience?
With co-working spaces becoming at a certain point more commoditized, even with Regis doing it now, what do you think the top disruptors or differentiators for the spaces that you think people want to be attracted to?
Well, I think first, really, it's community. There are a million pizza restaurants in the city. There's only 20 great ones in the city. And they have their own flavor, their own unique audience, or member user base. So just being true to your own community and building that, I think, is key. But at the same time, everybody can say they have the best pizza or the best co-working space or the best community. So I really think adding value to those startups that work in your space, bringing in partners from outside that can help them grow their businesses, that's key. Also fostering connections between the startups and arranging meetups between all the biz dev people at one company, all the designers at one company. So there's a lot of programming that probably has to go into it to differentiate from another co-working space. I mean, you can have fancy furniture and free beer, but that's not going to do it all. So you have to really almost act like you're an incubator, but without the equity.
To that, with being able to say that you've got connections or something else community-wise,
How do you really impress upon your new customer that that's real? Because again, that would be a commoditized sales line at a certain point.
Case studies. Just point to examples where one company works with another company. I know Scott's here because we connected through Carol. So these kind of connections happen all day long, and you have to look for them. And when someone comes and applies to our space, we do an interview with them. We find out what they're interested in, where they want to go, how we can help them. Just in that meeting, you're looking for a developer. There's a developer here who's looking for another company to work with on the side. So creating those kind of connections that are real are the differentiators.
One more question, if anyone has one. Oh.
Similar to what Jason was talking about, did you change your recruiting or your interview efforts at all, or your style when you took over, when you kind of had that happy hour realization, or just through your creative community?
Well, before I took it over, there was no interview process. It was just here's the cheap seat, take it. And then we really just focused on good quality people, stay away from the douchebags, stay away from the brats. People who are kicking the tires and it's a little wobbly, that's probably not a good fit. So we've actually started focusing in more on that and being more explicit about the kind of people that we want. I like startups, I like agencies, I don't like sales teams. So we're pretty explicit about that. We don't want a phone bank in our space.
Super. All right, thank you so much.